you built this app, but can you request me, and I will there we go. So the brother who you about to bring on, World, there we go.
How
Hey,
you
you got the
doing?
beard looking
Hey guys.
good.
Nice to see you.
Chris, it's a beautiful thing to see you. Thank you so much for joining on.
Yeah, thanks for the intro.
It's a treat. And when Demetric talked about, how people saw and viewed time with you, there are many of us that understand your influence, that understand your character. And so it's really a treat to have you on. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, man, it's nice to be here. How's everyone doing?
Everybody's good. We just
Hanging
got
in
done.
there?
We
Yeah.
just got done. I mean, our families, we're hanging in there.
Yeah.
Zoom birthday parties and everything, and
Yeah,
we're having fun. We're hanging in there. But we just had some good time with Demetric.
Cool.
And he mentioned a little bit about your willingness to support out of all these companies, being able to bring him on and support him there, which speaks to your character, speaks to your mentorship. But I just wanted to also say one thing he didn't say, which is the only piece of the introduction that I'll kind of end on, which is that your influence in building products, in building and helping to build the news feed and helping to build Facebook and the products around it. Certainly, he says, arguably responsible for some of the best products, most successful products in history. So it is without just humbling to be on the same screen with you. And so I want to just know how you're doing. Open-ended question: how you feel about Demetric? How's the family holding up? Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. Demetric obviously had a very successful education at Stanford, and I was just able to, thanks to you guys, like get to meet somebody pretty awesome who was nearby, who brought a lot to the company. He he's a brilliant guy. He's hardworking. He's like a lot of folks out there. He just he hustles, and he's great, and he did awesome work when he was at Facebook. So we were lucky to have him, and I'm excited to see where he goes. He's working on something that's about connecting people with opportunity, similar to what StreetCode's doing, except digitally. And I think that's a really important problem to solve even more. Every day that goes by, not just with the pandemic that's going on, but in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to have more and more of the economy is going to be digital, and we're going to need to make sure that we connect everybody to it,
Chris, we say the story every now and then, but there would be, there's not a path to StreetCode without the investment that you made early on.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the next 10 to 15 years, but we were talking about this 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you said yes to tech education.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke to many executives. We've spoken to so many people. Why tech education? Why communities like ours? Why bringing folks like Demetric? Why? I mean, we talk a lot about BJ in our last thing. Why? What have you seen that has given you that perspective to really invest in that in the way that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky because I got to get to know. I mean, just to start, East Palo Alto is right. It's like the community that is Facebook's community. If you just look at a map,
mm-hmm.
And I think there's a certain responsibility that's just let's make sure we're all helping each other along. And I was lucky enough through music to get to know a lot of the folks out in East Palo Alto. I was able to be hanging out there in 2003,
Rafa,
2004. Yeah, before we were called Rafa. We were playing shows in East Palo Alto backyards and weddings for the Tongan weddings, and it was a really cool experience for me to be connected to this historic community, and also a really vibrant one. So I think for companies in general, you have to not just be you have to be global, but you also have to work locally and think about your responsibility locally. And I think for me, once Facebook started to become successful, it was part of I knew a bunch of the amazing talent that was happening in East Palo Alto, and in some ways a lot more interesting than like a Palo Alto, night
Yeah.
out listening to a band. Was
Yeah.
just, across the highway, and then the music starts to get really good,
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
And so, yeah, it was just that. And then as far as tech education, I think it's just a part of, like, even if you're going to be in marketing, you're going to start a small business, if you're going to be in health, it doesn't it doesn't really matter too much in the future what industry you're in. You're going to need to have like a competency and confidence. Maybe it's not programming, but it's understanding how the internet works, and understanding how social media marketing works, or measurement, systems, or analytics, data science. I mean, this, man. Like,
Yep.
it's part of the education that high schools don't always get ahead of, and colleges don't often get ahead of, but is moving so quickly that it's up to, I think, companies to do at least something about investing in that, skill for students, for young students.
Thank you. Thank you. And obviously, I believe that, but I was late. Frankly, I grew up, and we're roughly the same age. And I've obviously played ball with one of your
Yeah,
childhood
who's the better
buddies.
athlete, Tunde?
Oh, well, no, we're so no. I was far from the athlete,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, absolutely not. But I did hear some secrets about you growing up, and one of them was that you were this phenomenal musician. You were considered a genius. These are all words from Matt Loddick, who grew up with you. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, absolutely. And so then, and then obviously we have a shared friend in Justin. Shout out to Jay Phipps, and
Yeah.
and I've seen you play on the stage, Fela's stage in Nigeria. You get down with Rafa. That's a reggae band. So you literally had music. You had the academic aptitude, and you chose tech really early on.
Mm-hmm.
And you must have seen some things, or you may just have fallen in love with it like Demetric did. But can you speak to why you chose tech and sort of what tech has done for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was, I really liked programming. I learned, as a freshman in college, I tried it, and I thought it was so fun. And so it came just like music, like there wasn't some huge ambition. It was like, I love playing the piano.
Mm.
And I felt the same way about programming. I loved it. I was like, this is so fun. It's so powerful. And of all the courses I was taking in college, the programming courses to me were the most fun.
Wow.
They weren't always the most interesting. Like, there was more interesting stuff going on in other courses, but in terms of fun, I really liked the homework,
Well, Tam is about to take 106A, and
Yeah,
because they
awesome.
did the free online
Yes.
Stanford.
Yep.
So she applied, she got in. So we took, in fact, Tam and I met freshman year, and we took CS 105 together. So we never made it to 106, but we at
Cool.
least took. I don't know if you remember, 105 was the web design class.
I
But
do, yeah, I do.
anyway,
Yeah.
so I toy with it. But no, keep going. What is tech? What is the journey done for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it went from being a hobby and like a fun thing to a career pretty luckily, because I was in the right place at the right time. I was in Palo Alto in 2004, 2005 when Mark and Dustin and the co-founders of Facebook moved out here. And they wanted engineers, and I was around. And it was a funny time because tech was in kind of a doldrums period. There wasn't a lot going on in terms of startups.
Wow.
There was Google and there was Microsoft, but there wasn't a lot of startups, and the 101 was empty, and there was no traffic around here. And it wasn't, you remember Tunde. You were
Yeah.
here. So Facebook to me was, I was in grad school at the time. It was like a more interesting way to explore the horizons of what was possible with the internet, which to me was just intellectually really interesting.
Mm.
And it seemed like a cool job, and the people seemed really smart. I didn't know it was going to be Facebook,
Wow.
And a lot of times you don't know these things, but in fact, you usually don't know them, but you got to look for like smart people, hardworking, some amount of fun and passion, and then in my situation, a lot of luck. And then as the years went on, I was there for 13 years. It became a huge responsibility. It was like, now you're running something really important, and it like the motivations completely changed from like, I'm 22 and this is fun and I got a really cool job and I'm working at a startup, into like, you're responsible for the well-being of, you know, billions of people's experiences, and dealing with all this hard stuff and dealing with all this good stuff. And, you know, it's a different, it's like work you do, man. It's like, it's about your heart and what inspires you, and, you know, doing the best you can for people.
No, salute. I mean, that's, you know, you look now and we could easily assume there was early insight or prediction, and to know that, you know, and I know you enough to know how much you follow your heart, how much you follow those same principles, good people doing what feels right, and then these things can work out, right? My boy Jason Maiden just asked a phenomenal question, but I can't figure out how to get back to that question. So I'm gonna ask you one that I have in StreetCode. You know, we talk about mindsets, we talk about skills, and we talk about access, right? Those are the three things we really are talking about. And so you have the word hope behind you. You've talked a little bit about some of the values that you carry, but can you, you know, ask the same question to Demetric, just those young people that are, you know, coming up, or the next, you know, the Chris Coxes, the people that want to walk in the same shoe, create their own path, of course, but walk on those kind of shoulders of you.
Yeah.
What are some of those mindsets? What are some of those skills? What are some of those, what do we need access to that can help us get there?
I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's pretty simple. It's about hard work. You know, at least like looking at people at Facebook who did really well, a lot of it was humility and hard work. It's stuff you guys talk a lot about in StreetCode classes that I've seen. And some certain amount of curiosity, like, you know, I can go out on the internet, and if I have the curiosity and some time, I can go figure out how to do this, or, you know, do whatever I want. And I think it's some version of that is basically what sets people apart. I don't know, part of what's been fun about working with Justin is seeing how much of the really cool music has come out of East Palo Alto recently. Like, really amazing Congolese drumming, like,
Shout out
really
to Red Tone
beautiful.
Records.
Yeah, like, really good. You know, like, some people think music's not good anymore, you know, and those of us who grew up in the 90s like to think about that. But I don't know, man. I think there's something about the experience of at least the EPA community and the StreetCode community that's really about self-determination. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been really cool to see. And it's been really fun to see StreetCode produce people that come in to places like Facebook and succeed and excel.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'll say this in closing. You know, my brother Jason posed the question just around bias and nepotism and merit, and it's funny, the people that you've interacted with from StreetCode have literally just had the benefit of running across you, and had someone like you take the time to connect them in the right opportunities, right? And so StreetCode is if we've done anything well, we've been a bridge. We're certainly not producing folks in that way, but just bringing people on. I think about, you know, even Jason, people who come from the community, had these talents, just met him, and now they got careers at SAP or D School or whatever. So I just appreciate people who have keys to those opportunities and are connecting it to communities that don't always get that opportunity. So salute to you, Chris.
Thanks, man.
Love to you and your family during this time. And thank you, brother. I hope.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you guys are doing these right now.
I appreciate it. And any last words on where we could get more from you, or any, you know, next steps from you, or how to follow you? Talk to us.
I don't know. I've been spending a lot of time with my family recently. I got 2 little kids, 5 and 2. We're right here down the street from you guys. It's been really cool for me to spend a lot more time involved as a dad. You know more about that than I do by a lot.
No, I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning.
But you know, it's like you got to find the silver linings in the craziness that we have right now in the world. And um, you know, I worked with a couple of friends on this big coronavirus hackathon, which was like matching around 12,000 engineers to a bunch of projects that were
I
created
saw
by.
that.
And that was cool because it was international, and you had, you know, folks from all over the world, and then you also had matching them with sort of the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the CDC, you know, like serious health organizations that needed help from engineers and designers and scientists. So it was nice to be able to help a little bit on that. As you know, I've been working a little bit on climate,
Yep.
trying to figure out what to do there. But I don't know, man. I think especially for times like these, I'm really happy we have StreetCode and have a chance to bring people together. And I think the speaker series is a good thing, and I'm happy to be involved.
Well, hey, we won by getting you and Demi on the same hour. So thank you, brother. Give my love to everybody. Thanks for all you're doing, and I can't wait to stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Chris. So there you had it, y'all. We got some amazing insight from Demetric Sanders, from Chris Cox, and I just want to thank you. I want to thank the production team, always Frederico, Alexander, started us off with the music, executive producing this, Squint, I am Squint, always touching everything is gold. Cool, Sanford is working hard to make this possible. So just want to salute everybody. Want to salute the StreetCode team. As we mentioned in the start, we definitely got to let you know if you go to streetcode.us, we still have classes available. Please sign in. I see Rena on there. Just the community is beautiful. Thanks for coming together. We're still pushing this along. And so thank you for making this work. Be well. Stay StreetCode. Peace and love.